Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be finishing our liner lock fillet knife. So let's get to it. So if you haven't seen the previous video, I recommend you check it out so you can catch up where we're at now. So what I've got is one of the scales, and it's basically two pieces of micarta, different colors, glued down to a piece of thin G10. And this will make it, you know, a solid scale. And now I'm going to trim it out, and then it'll be rough trimmed. Then I'll match the other scale to it, drill the holes, and then finish profiling it. So we get them cut and ground pretty close. All right, now I'm going to drill through the liner, through the handles, both scales clamped together. That way I've got my joints evened up where I've got the two different pieces of micarta. And you got to make sure everything's flat. If you don't, you will have a scale that won't fit. And once I drill these through with the tap size, I will come back with a counterbore on the outsides and drill the pass-through hole. So I'll be moving these clamps around as I drill, but main thing is I keep everything flat and square. All right, I went ahead and screwed the handle material down to the liners, and now I have to trim everything. This backspacer is a little proud too, so I got to get everything down to the liners. But I will not contour them right now because I still got to come in here and cut the relief for the lock bar inside the handle material. I just want to get everything profiled, get that liner cut, and now I'll come back and do the sculpting or the contouring. Let's do it. What I've got set up right here will give a machinist nightmares. It's pretty sketchy. I do this several different ways. This is the way I'm doing it right now, and a lot of people do it different ways. But what I want to do is relieve the handle material so that the lock bar can move over, because the detent ball would be too tight against the blade. It has to have room so the blade can open and close, or it'd just be too stiff. You probably crack your handle material or strip a screw. But I've got a crude jig set up here, and I just use a gauge to figure out how much I need to take off. I've got it set on an angle, and I need to take off around 17 thousandths. But I'll start at the furthest end and move all the way up to that 17 thousandths. So it'll take a little bit off all the way to the end where I should end up with 18 thousandths. And by the way, all of the cutters that I'm using, drill bits and all that good stuff, you'll find it in the description. There'll be links in the description. They're affiliate links, and you can get all that stuff. Now, if you use those affiliate links, it really helps out the channel, so I appreciate it. But right now I'm just using it's around a 1/2 inch mill, and I use carbide for everything. Sometimes I'll go the other way, but I use carbide primarily. So let's get this cut. All right, with everything done on the liners and the handles for the most part, I'll still have to anodize. I'll be doing some decorative work on the spines of the liners and some jeweling on the insides. A little cleanup and they'll be ready. Now it's time to grind the blade. I've got some center mark here, or a couple little center marks. I call them center marks, or lines on each side of center. That way I can grind down to a specific thickness. I like to get down to 20 thousandths or less. It'll probably be a little thinner on this fillet knife. Now, I call this a fillet knife. It's pretty thick. It's not thin like a traditional fillet knife. And depending on what you're filleting, I like a thicker knife, especially if you're doing like big redfish or, you know, lemon fish or tuna or something like that. Flexible spine, you get deflection. Anyway, that's a topic for discussion later. Anyway, we're gonna get her ground and we'll do all the hand sanding, clean up, final finish on the flats, and we'll put it together after I do the anodizing and the decorative work. All right, let's get her ground. Well, that's pretty much all I can do to it except for sharpen it and some cosmetic work. But it's always a challenge. This is the third one I've made like this, and that long of a liner lock is a challenge. But we got it done, and I hope you got something out of it. Please leave a comment below, like and subscribe and all that stuff. I appreciate it. I thank you for watching. I thank my patrons. We're going to see you on the next one.